friends, welcome to my channel Sushant Chesswise. Today we are at the next topic of knight fork, and that is at the intermediate level. We have started this series of middle game themes or motifs at the second level now. So these positions are slightly difficult than the positions which we did before. Okay, let's get started quickly. So here what is going to happen? We are not going to get positions in the first one. We saw that immediately knight fork was happening. So here we have to see where the weakness is and we have to see where the knight can do fork. Let's get started with the first one. We'll get some idea. So let's look at the position. See, at first it looks like white is slightly less developed because see, knight and the bishop, three pieces are developed. These two knights are very active. Development wise, black is ahead. See, rook is developed, knights are developed, but we see two problems. One, this bishop is quite stuck and the knight on a6 is in the corner of the board. White is able to play bg2 soon. White notices is that he has got two knights attacking on the d6 square, and secondly the pieces which we see in the range of fork are these rooks, okay, from the f7 square. So now it's very easy to spot. See, white plays the knight to d6. Here in fact both knights can be taken to d6. Okay, I think the e4 knight is well off, so maybe we should play the b knight to d6 first. Check, bishop will take on d6, knight takes d6 with a check. Now f7 and king both are attacked, also the b7 pawn is attacked. So king moves to c7 attacking the knight, knight takes f7, and now we see that one of the rook will be taken. So if rook f8, then knight d8, and after kd8, because this rook is already on the open file, so maybe kd8, even rook d8 can be considered. This is the better open file, but this position is easily winning for white. So we can see that white is an exchange up, bishop for bishop, bishop for knight, rook for rook, and rook for knight, and top of that we got a pawn over here. So exchange up and pawn up, this is a easily winning position for white. Let's look at the next position here. When we first look at the position, we see that both rooks are nicely attacking on the f8 square. Queen is attacking near the king, and this knight on e7 is very active, attacking the g6 square. Black pieces are also reasonably placed. Only thing is that they are not that active. They are defenders. The queen on g7 is defending f8, rook on d8 is also defending f8. Bishop and knight are active, but they are not doing anything near the white king over here in this position. White to play. So what white saw here, that this knight g6 can become a fork. There are two ways here to win the position. White started with the move rook into f8 check, rook takes f8, then rook f8 check, queen f8, and then white had seen that this g6 cannot be taken, it looks like at first, but white saw that after knight g6 check, h pawn cannot take the knight because of the pin here, and after king g7, knight just takes the queen, and after king f8, maybe even queen to h7 or queen c8 check, both are very strong, and white is in a winning position. Okay, let's look at the other possibility over here. Other possibility would have been to take knight into g6 first, and after qg6 then take on f8. But the point is, in this position white will only gain an exchange. After rook f8, rook f8, rook f8, king comes to g7, and there is no forced knight over there. So the point is that better play for white is rook f8 and then doing the knight fork. Let's look at the next position here. Again white to play. In this case it looks like no knight fork is possible immediately, because if we try to locate the point of fork, that is one from see b7 square attacking d8. So the another place is from e6 attacking d8 and the c5 square. So what white notes that the knight can come to e6 from the c7 square. And another thing to be noted is the rook on c8 is overloaded. It protects the c7 square and the d8 rook. So white spots a very nice tactic. Knight c7 check. If rook takes the knight, then rook into d8, winning the exchange for white, still that was the better possibility actually. In the game, black played king e7, keeping the rook supported. But now see, knight wants to reach e6, but the king is the defender. So white starts with rook into d8, first destroying the rook. Now again rook has to take, and now after rook into d8, kd8, knight e6 check. And see, it's a nice score on g7, d8 and c5 square. Three things are attacked. When more than three things are attacked, we can call that it's a family fork. Okay, three or more is attacked. So now king has to go to e7 or d7 square. If d7, then knight c5 check will win the pawn also. So maybe ke7, then knight c5. So at any rate, from all the squares, even after the move kc8, knight c5, and there is no way to protect the a6 pawn, and soon white will win the game. Let's look at the next position here. When we have a first look at the position, we see that there is no knight in the position, and we are talking about knight fork, right? So it's a very interesting position. So what we see that white is not able to give any checks right now. g4 check, then rook into g4 would be checked. Another problematic thing, if pawn takes the rook and becomes queen, then rook into f6 check. Although see, white will have a queen here, but this position is not at all winning, because problem is, once I defend this h7 pawn, there are two pawns over here, and the a pawn is first pawn. So rook, bishop and this a pawn are going to cause enough problems to the white queen over there. So this position we cannot consider as easily winning for white. So white spotted an interesting idea here. He saw that this g8 and h5 square, they are related. Okay, so they are at the range of knight fork, and again see from f6, right? And from f6 even d7 and h5 are related. So here white spots the very strong move f into g8, and that becomes a knight here. So it's an under promotion. Whenever we don't promote the pawn to a queen, we say that it's an under promotion. And now if queen is not taken, just say rook g8, then queen f7 check, and after rook g6 the bishop is lost. Otherwise the rook would be lost. And when he takes rook into f6, knight f6 check, he attacks the knight, protects the h7 pawn, knight d7, but the fight is still not over, because knight has some problems against the rook first pawn. Black can try the move a5, and now white has to be very careful. If knight c5, then there will be b5 and then a4, and there will be some problem over there. But white should play the move knight b6. It stops both the pawns. Now a pawn cannot go to a4, it will be taken, and the b pawn cannot go to b5. And soon white will come over here from e3 to d4 and take this pawn. Even knight d5 can be taken, and white is winning in the position. So let's look at the last position here. We see that the white queen is about to enter the h8 square. Black king is struggling with the moves, and this will very well complement with the idea of mating net. If you remember that when the king has only one square or no squares left. So what happens here is, many people think that this knight is able to do fork from the d7 square. So the first move looks very easy. Knight into d5 we can play. Okay, and now what is happening? Queen is attacked. So if bd5 is not taken, then queen h8 mates instantly. Okay, and after the move bd5, knight d7 check, king moves to e7 forced, and knight takes f6. And then after the move king f6, okay, this position is of course winning for white. So for two minor pieces, we have got the queen. So this is one way of winning over here. Plus we see we took the pawn on d5 also. But there is an even better way, using the concept of mating net. This is how we are going to learn about calculation of variations in future. Whichever moves we are thinking, we can switch their order. So first what we did nd5 and nd7 check, right? Second move. Now we will change the order of moves. See, first nd7 check, doing a fork. Now see, if king e7, then knight f6. So we have only given one knight for the queen. not 2 like in the previous variation. And after the move bd7, now see, now white plays nd5. Exactly, see, this is reversed from the previous variation what we saw. Now what is happening? If the queen moves wherever, queen g6, e6, g5 wherever, then queen h8 is mate, because the knight covers the e7 square. So the only way to stop qh8 mate is moving the g pawn. So g6 or g5 wherever, and what we see, after g6 or g5, knight takes the queen for free, and we have just given one piece, and that too here also there is more problem, because if rook e7 to protect the bishop, then queen h8 check, so maybe rook d8 forced, and white can do many things here like bishop into g6 fg, knight d7 check. He can do queen into h6 here, and he can also consider queen h8, ke7, knight d5 check, dragging the king out. So this is a totally winning position for white. Okay. So from these positions we did some positions based on the knight fork, that is at intermediate level. Of course we will be doing all these themes at even higher level. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Do like, share and subscribe the channel. Thanks for your time.